Good afternoon. Welcome to the June 18th Public Works meeting in the City of Kent. We have Councilmember Seth Winder-Core, Councilmember Marley Larimer, Director Chad Barron, and we have Cheryl Veseth ably keeping all of the notes. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Okay, no changes, then we are ready for a motion.
Chair, I move to approve the minutes dated June 6, 2022.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the June 6 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and we are on to Erik Peterson telling us about speed limit changes.
Hello, council members. I'm Erik Preston, your city traffic engineer. And so I do want to share a proposal for a resolution to change speed limits on certain streets within the city limits. So current speed limits were set by Resolution 1850 back in 2011. So we have some housekeeping items for you today. So all of the streets in Kent are not listed in the ordinance. State law says that speed limits within cities default to 25 miles per hour. So only streets not posted 25 are listed. The authority of setting speed limits is given to the city traffic engineer through the city's adoption of the Model Traffic Ordinance in Kent City Code, Chapter 9.36. So again, this is just housekeeping exercise to update the speed limits on city streets. The resolution does cover several types of revisions. First, changes to roadway alignment, like the overcrossings on 228th. Building new streets, extending old ones, or renaming them. Changes in land use or context, like on Meeker Street. And adding speed limits in the Panther Lake Annexation area. And we also reordered the list of streets in the resolution in alphanumeric order, standardized the street way that street names are referenced and how they are ordered on that list. So let's take a look at a few of those changes in roadway alignment and context. So first, if you look at the lower left, Meeker Street in the light green there between Kent Des Moines Road and Russell Road is being reduced from 40 to 30 miles per hour. And then just to the right of it, the section in the darker green will be going from 35 to 30. That's between Russell and Washington. And so that whole, when that's done, that whole section of Meeker from Kent Des Moines Road to Washington or SR 181 will be 30 miles per hour. Then some changes in alignment. This section of 228th Street from West Valley Highway to Central. As you can see, it has two overcrossings that cross the railroad tracks of both UP and the Burlington Northern. And those overcrossings limit the sight distance. So that whole section it will be 30 miles per hour as well because of that sight distance. Next, the section of 224th that we extended a few years ago over 167, and that section of 88th Way will also be 30 miles per hour. And so those are brand new 30 mile per hour zones. So next, let's look at changes involving annexation. So the Panther Lake annexation area outlined in the dashed line in the upper right there has several different streets. The red ones are 35 miles per hour. The blue ones are 40 miles per hour. Those are the existing speed limits that you see out there, and we're just adopting them as part of this resolution, again, as a house cleaning measure. So that's all I had for you today. I am available for questions.
All right, and how is the community notified? Or the neighbors in the area who might frequent those streets?
Sure. There has been no notification that I am aware of, unless, Chad, you have something to add to that.
Yeah, no, these actually, for instance, in the annexation area, the signage says that out there right now. So there's been no change. With regard to the areas around the grade separations, it's really follow-up from having built the project. So they'll be notified when the sign goes up.
Okay. Questions? Comments?
So question, where did those numbers come from? So I think I'm just a little concerned about like the 30, because to me, I think maybe I've just been patterned to be like, it's 25, 35, 55.
Sure.
I guess I'm a little concerned about the even numbered ones and if that's well known.
No, that's fine. With the overcrossings, that is just simple geometry of the curve that goes over those. And so we have so many of those in a row, we wouldn't want to have it leave part of it 40 and then suddenly change to 30 and go back to 40 and back to 30. You wouldn't get compliance. That'd be kind of a more risky scenario. So we're just going to do that. Those whole sections is 30. And so,
I might add to that, there's actually a bit of engineering, science behind setting speed limits. Erik could go into the minutia of how it works out, but it's to the nearest 5. And so the state law actually gives us the authority to set speed limits. It was updated about 4 years ago, three or 4 years ago, to reset the lower limit at 20. It's been 25 for decades, but the lower limit now is 20, all the way up to 60 within city limits, although we don't have any facilities that match 60 miles an hour, but in 5 mile per hour increments. So it's not that unusual for us to have areas out there that are 30 or 40 or 50 miles an hour.
When we put up the new signs where we haven't had signs before, do we do any type of like flagging or anything like that it's new and it's changing, or to call more attention to it?
yeah, we do, especially when it's an actual change
Okay.
from what they've been experiencing. Yeah, we do that for usually 30 days, sometimes a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilmember Corr? Thank you very much, Mr. Preston. If there are no questions, then we are ready for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to repeal Resolution Number 1850 and adopt a new resolution updating the reasonable and safe maximum speed limits on certain designated streets as posted by official traffic control devices pursuant to Chapter 9.40 of the Kent City Code.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to repeal Resolution Number 1850, adopting the changes for our code. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and it will move on to council. Thank you very much. And now we have Sean Bauer. Welcome, Mr. Bauer. We're going
Good
to
afternoon,
listen about the interlocal agreement for the amendment with the city of Covington.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members. Thank you for your time today. I'm here with a third amendment to an interlocal agreement for joint operations between the city of Kent and the city of Covington for the relocation of Kent water facilities through a road widening project on State Route 516 that the city of Covington and the State Department of Transportation are working on. Construction has begun on the city of Covington's project to widen State Route 516 from just east of Wax Road at Jenkins Creek to 185th Place, which is southeast, which is the intersection where Home Depot is and other businesses located in the retail center. This project impacts our Clark Springs, Kent Springs, and Armstrong Springs transmission mains. In August of 2016, we entered into an interlocal agreement with the city of Covington because it was the most efficient method for both of our agencies to facilitate the design, permitting, coordination, and relocation of our transmission mains. Covington has entered into a consultant contract with WSP USA Incorporated to manage construction of the project. This amendment would authorize reimbursement to Covington for construction management costs associated with the relocation of our transmission mains and memorialize the allocation of costs. The overall project cost is just under $19 million. Of that, Schedule B, which is our water transmission main portion, or mains portion, 3 of them, is $1.9 million. And that's 9.5% of the project, which makes our construction management costs around $266,000. In addition, this amendment also extends the timeline of the interlocal agreement to December of 2025. This will allow for the project to be completed and closed out. It also updates designated representatives to reflect staffing changes here within the city of Kent. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So in actuality, this is no difference than when one of the utilities located here, when we're doing a project, maybe doing something on the street to open it up, and they have to come and move their utilities.
Right.
Questions from either of my companions here?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yep.
We are ready for a motion.
Chair, I move to authorize the mayor to sign a third amendment to the interlocal agreement between the cities of Covington and Kent for a joint public works operation for CIP 1127 Southeast 272nd Street, SR 516 improvements between Jensen's Creek and 185th Place Southeast, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the city attorney and public works director.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize that CIP 1127 Southeast 272nd Street improvements between Jenkins Creek and 185th Place Southeast. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It moves on to council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that is it. Unless there is anything else for the good of the order,
Nope, short and sweet.
we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Heater, so that poses a huge issue. And then